All right, today we're going to dive deep into a really interesting report from PhillipCapital to figure out what is going on with India's auto market. You hear all this buzz, but is it really booming? Let's get into it and see what the data says.
So yeah, that's the big question right off the bat. Is all this talk about a boom for real, or is it just a lot of noise? We're going to answer that by looking at the facts, straight from the folks who know best, the dealers on the front lines.
Well, right off the bat, the answer is a huge yes. I mean, this headline from the report pretty much says it all. The momentum is real, it's healthy, and it's not slowing down. So the real question becomes, what's putting all this fuel in the engine?
Okay, so to really get this, we need to look at the main driver here. What was the one big thing that got the entire market so fired up? And here it is, the big one. The report is super clear that a recent cut in the GST, that's India's sales tax, was the main catalyst. It was like the starting gun that made vehicles just a bit more affordable and unleashed this huge wave of pent-up demand.
And we're not talking about a little spark here. This thing lit a fire everywhere. From motorcycles to passenger cars to commercial trucks, demand is strong across the board. And, just as important, dealers aren't getting buried in cars they can't sell. Inventory is under control, which, is a sign of a really healthy, stable market.
So cars are flying out of the showrooms, but what kind of cars are people actually buying? Let's dig into the trends, because this is where you can really see how the market is changing.
The report points to three massive shifts that are basically rewriting the rulebook. First, you've got the unstoppable rise of the SUV. Second, there's a serious push for premium. People are willing to pay more for more features. And third, a huge recovery in rural India is just supercharging sales, especially for things like tractors and two-wheelers. And this quote from the report just hammers that point home. It's not just about getting from point A to point B anymore. People are now actively looking for those premium touches. They want the space and the look of an SUV, and really importantly, they're paying way more attention to safety. That's a huge shift in the customer's mindset.
Okay, now for the really fun part. Let's get down to the ground level. This PhillipCapital report is just packed with direct feedback from dealerships all over the country. This is where we get to see how those big trends we just talked about are actually playing out for the major brands.
And wow, this tells you the whole story in the two-wheeler space. It's a tale of two companies. You've got TVS Motor, and their sales are on fire. We're talking double-digit growth, thanks to a great product lineup that even includes EVs. Then you have Bajaj Auto, who, according to dealers, are kind of struggling to keep up because they just don't have new models to get people excited. The contrast is just stark.
And if you want to talk about a company that's just perfectly riding a trend, you have to look at Mahindra and Mahindra. I mean, they are crushing it in the SUV game. Dealers are saying that models like the Scorpio, the Thar, and the Bolero are just flying off the lots. They are, without a doubt, the kings of this segment right now.
So what about the big boss, the longtime market leader, Maruti Suzuki? Well, don't worry, people are still buying their cars in huge numbers. But even they are feeling the pull of the SUV trend. The report notes a really dramatic shift in what's selling. Their compact SUVs are growing like crazy, while their classic, iconic small cars, they're seeing much, much slower growth. It's a huge deal when the king of small cars sees its future in bigger vehicles.
You want to see a brand absolutely nail it? Check out this mini case study on Royal Enfield's Hunter model. According to dealers, its lighter weight is a total game changer. It's bringing in a whole new crowd, younger buyers, college students, and, this is really cool, a growing number of female riders. They found a way to attract a completely new audience to their brand. That's smart.
All right, so we've heard the stories from the ground, we've seen the big trends, now it's time to look at the scoreboard. Who are the certified winners in this market boom, according to the cold, hard numbers?
Let's just throw a number out there to start. 25%. That is the year-over-year wholesale growth for Mahindra's auto division. That number is the direct result of them perfectly hitting that SUV trend we just talked about. That's what success looks like. Okay, now let's zoom out and look at the whole league table here. This chart from the report shows the growth expectations for everybody. I mean, just look at these numbers. Hero MotoCorp is expected to hit 31% growth. That's incredible. And even the guys at the low end are hitting 20%. It really shows you that this isn't just one or two companies doing well. The whole market is surging. So, after crunching all these numbers and listening to the dealers, PhillipCapital has its favorites. They're betting on the market leader, Maruti, and the SUV king, M&M. For two-wheelers, they like Eicher Motors, which owns Royal Enfield. And they even give a shout-out to an auto parts maker, Lumax Autotech, if you want to play the whole ecosystem.
We've covered where the market is right now and who's winning. But where is all of this headed? Let's get into our final section and see what the report says is coming down the road.
So, what's the bottom line here? Well, it's looking pretty good. The analysts are confident this isn't just some flash in the pan. They really expect this strong demand and all these positive trends to just keep on rolling, at least for the next few months.
And as we look to the future, there are three big themes you absolutely need to keep your eyes on, because they're not going away. The push for more premium features is going to continue. The SUV is going to stay king of the road, and we're going to see a lot more interest in things like EVs and other alternate fuels. These are the forces shaping the market's future.
And that brings us to our final thought, something for you to chew on. In this new market that's totally supercharged by bigger, more expensive, feature-packed SUVs, what happens to the classic, affordable small car? You know, the car that put so many Indian families on the road for the first time. What's its future? It's a really interesting question to think about. Thanks for tuning in.